What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about The Young and the Restless? Go ahead, I'll wait. Chances are you think of Victor and Nikki. To fans from the past and fans of the present, they are the number one most iconic couple of Y&R and possibly all of daytime. Victor Newman, Nikki Newman, Niktor. They are the defining couple of The Young and the Restless, and together they have more than 40 years of love, marriage, divorce, reunion, family drama, other spouses, affairs, and some of the most famous weddings in Y&R history. Pop quiz. How many times have Victor and Nikki been married? Wanna guess? Tick tock, 3 times legally, but 4 times unofficially. That's a very Victor and Nikki kind of answer, because their relationship has never been simple. It's been romantic, it's been beautiful, it's also been dysfunctional and painful, and yet somehow enduring. So why do Victor and Nikki always come back to each other? Well, to understand that, I think we gotta go back to the beginning. Back to when Nikki was still Nikki Reed. When Nikki Reed first meets Victor Newman, she has no idea who he is. Nikki comes from a pretty tough background, and she's lived through a lot already. And yes, Nikki was a stripper, exotic dancer, if you prefer. That is part of the story. That is part of the transformation. Because when Nikki arrives as a guest at the Newman Ranch in 1981, Victor does not tell her that he is the wealthy owner of the whole place. He pretends to be the butler. He lets Douglas Austin appear to be the man of the manor. It's a trap, a romantic trap, but a trap. He's watching her, studying her, getting to know her, and deciding if he can trust her. Victor slowly opens the door to his world, and it is a world unlike anything Nikki has ever seen. Victor introduces her to a whole different life. Money, power, elegance, class, poise, the ranch. And Catherine Chancellor's there too, helping to guide her, helping to smooth out some of those rough edges, almost like a fairy godmother. And there is a real fairy tale quality to the Victor and Nikki story. You know, the peasant girl who walks into the castle and the prince who falls in love with her. It's classic. And the timing is no coincidence. Just 2 weeks after Nikki walks into the Newman Ranch for the very first time, Luke and Laura walk down the aisle on General Hospital. The soap cultural event of the 80s. The height of the original soap Supercouple era. Luke and Laura proved how powerful a soap opera romance could become. But Victor and Nikki would take that Supercouple formula and stretch it across more than 40 years. But even in the beginning, there's an imbalance. Victor has the money. Victor has the power. Victor controls the entire world around them. And Nikki is just living in it. That dynamic would follow Victor and Nikki for decades. Because Victor doesn't just fall in love with Nikki. Victor wants to protect her, to shape her, to control her. But Nikki sees something in Victor, something that the rest of the world doesn't see. Something way more lonely and vulnerable than he wants to admit. Nikki opens up Victor's softer side, and then Victor opens up Nikki's life to new possibilities. And then he gives her the kind of wedding that Y&R fans would still be talking about 40 years later. Victor and Nikki's first wedding aired on April 13th, 1984, and Y&R goes big for it. It was a television event. The gown, the train, the headpiece, the flowers, the guests, the drama. Nikki is wearing a wedding dress that is made with French silk-faced satin and organza. The train of the dress stretches 10 feet long. The headpiece has thousands of hand-sewn beads and pearls. It's lavish. It's lush. It's extravagant beyond extravagant. And it takes place at the Colonnade Room with Eve Howard showing up disguised as a caterer with a poisoned drink for the bride. Because apparently a 10-foot long train wasn't dramatic enough. Nikki and her golden blonde waves, and Victor and his powerful mustache. It's the biggest wedding Y&R has ever done before or since. And it's not just for the spectacle. It's also because the chemistry between Victor and Nikki justified it. But for Victor and Nikki, chemistry is only part of the story, because marriage is where the trouble really begins. Victor and Nikki's first marriage lasts from 1984 to 1988. And during those years, the cracks in their foundation really start to show, because Victor and Nikki love each other, but love does not mean easy. Victor is controlling. He is powerful and demanding, and Nikki wants to stand on her own. She wants to feel like she belongs in his world without disappearing inside of it. And then there are the other people. Ashley Abbott comes to the Newman Ranch to recover from the trauma of realizing that John Abbott is not her biological father. And while she is there, Ashley and Victor start falling for each other. Well, Nikki finds out and retaliates by having an affair with Ashley's brother and Victor's biggest rival, Jack Abbott. So now Victor is tangled up with Ashley. Nikki is tangled up with Jack. And this is still only the beginning, because Leanna Love publishes a tell-all book titled Restless, the Victor Newman story. And the book exposes Victor's affair with Ashley and Ashley's abortion. Now, having completely lost trust, Victor thinks that Nikki is the one behind the whole thing. So that's where the first marriage ends. But Nikki and Victor never fully leave each other's orbit. And here's the pattern we're gonna start to see. Victor and Nikki get angry. They hurt each other. They try to move on. They marry other people. But somehow, the connection is always still there between them. Victor always seems to pull Nikki back toward him, and Nikki always seems to understand Victor in a way that nobody else does. And by 1998, that cycle leads straight to a deathbed wedding. In 1998, Nikki is married to Dr. Joshua Landers, except Joshua's presumed dead wife, Veronica, is very much alive and posing as their maid. Because soaps. Veronica kills Joshua, then shoots Nikki 4 times. Jack finds Nikki lying in a pool of blood. She is believed to be dying, and Victor rushes to her side to marry her at her bed before it's too late. Problem is, Victor is already married to Diane Jenkins. But Victor divorces Diane. Victor and Nikki have this dramatic bedside deathbed wedding, and it's incredibly romantic. It's incredibly soapy. But it has also got a paperwork problem. Victor's divorce from Diane wasn't complete, which means Victor and Nikki's deathbed wedding didn't count. Oh, they walked down the aisle, or rather met at the bedside, but legally, nope. Victor's still married to Diane. And that is really such a perfect Victor and Nikki story, because even when Victor and Nikki are having a grand romantic reunion, there is always something, a twist, a complication, another wife. But Victor and Nikki were far from finished because the deathbed wedding was only wedding number 2. And there are still 2 more to go. In 2002, Victor and Nikki remarried again at the Colonnade Room, which was the same place that they had their first wedding. Because if you're gonna reunite, you might as well throw in a little nostalgia. And it was beautiful. Victoria was the matron of honor. Nick was the best man. And this wedding was lovely because it was a little more mature. Still very elegant, but also evolved. Nikki's hair is up. Victor's mustache is a little more gray. And when Nikki and Victor kiss, rose petals fall down upon them. I mean, it was the perfect final wedding. Except not. That marriage lasts until 2008, when Nikki finally gets fed up with Victor trying to control her life. Victor admits that he only sold MVP to Nikki because he wanted her to give up her shares of Jabot stock. And Nikki says, enough, I'm done. She moves out. She divorces him. But then in March of 2013, Victor and Nikki get married one more time during Y&R's 40th anniversary celebration. Now, Nikki has recently been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and Victor is standing by her side in more ways than one. It's a simple home wedding surrounded by friends and family at the new ranch house. Well, the old new ranch house, the one that Victor built immediately after the fire. Thanks, Sharon. And for the dramatic portion of our story, after the wedding, Adam takes a bullet that was meant for Victor. Bad omen for a new marriage. But it lasted. So far, 2013 was Victor and Nikki's final wedding. And by then, Y&R had made its position very clear. Nikki and Victor can wander. They can separate. They can rebuild their lives. But somehow, their story will always lead back to one place. The Newman Ranch. It's almost like another character in the Victor and Nikki love story. The ranch is where they raised their family, where they fought, where they separated, and where they always came back together. In 2024, Victor secretly rebuilds the original ranch for Nikki. Not the old new ranch, not the one that looked nothing like the original. This one was a near exact replica. Victor leads Nikki inside wearing a blindfold while the Y&R theme song plays in the background and I'm crying. Nikki opens her eyes and there it is. The home that they lost. Looking so similar, it's scary. Well, except that the front door is on the wrong side. But I can't hold on to that forever, so I have to learn to let it go. Seeing that set again was such a full circle moment for their relationship because the ranch reflects the whole story. Victor and Nikki have burnt their entire relationship to the ground and then rebuilt it from the ground up multiple times. And every time, the ranch is still a part of it. Victor gives Nikki this grand world, and Nikki gives Victor something that money can't buy. She still sees the part of him that is wounded, that is orphaned, and that needs someone to understand him. And Victor sees Nikki as home. As home. And somehow I think that Y&R fans see Victor and Nikki as home. They're a home base that the show keeps returning to, even when they fight, even when they break up, even when there is absolutely no reason that these two people should still be together. Niktor always finds a way back together. Victor has loved other women, and Nikki has loved other men. And some of those relationships were very real. Some of those relationships were very meaningful, and some of them lasted a pretty long time. But somehow, nobody ever fully replaces Nikki and Victor for each other. So maybe the real question is not just why do Victor and Nikki keep coming back to each other? Maybe the question is, why do Y&R fans keep coming back to Victor and Nikki? Because we know how this goes. There will always be another reason for Nikki to pack a bag and take a room at the GCAC. And there will always be another secret that Victor has kept from her, or he's made some power move that makes everything 10 times worse. And yet, when Victor and Nikki find their way back to each other, it feels like something familiar, something emotional. It's iconic. So now I want to hear from you, Y&R fans. Why do you think that Victor and Nikki always come back to each other? Is it love? Is it codependence? Is it the chemistry between Eric Braeden and Melody Thomas Scott? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.